Welcome back to Royal Productions. My name is Louis, and basically what we do here is cover crypto news, blockchain, and anything to do with the financial structure. Sometimes we'll cover world events that have to pertain to the market, but for the most part, we stick to crypto. And if you like that type of news, or if you're new here, stick around. You might learn something, and also share it to others who might like this information. All right, let's get right into this. Total crypto market sitting at 2.06 trillion. Fear and greed index sitting at 16. Take a look at these crypto markets really quick. Bitcoin sitting at 59,000, Ethereum at 1,500. We got Tether's total market cap at 186 billion. Still sitting at 99 because it is a stable coin. If you guys don't know what a stable coin is, we will be creating a video in the future to help you guys understand what crypto is. So stick around for that. XRP 104, Solana 73. If you guys want to see the rest of these markets, pause it really quick. Alrighty, moving on. The first article I have for you guys today: Saylor strategy initiates buyback and Bitcoin monetization program, lifts STRC dividend. Okay, we're gonna cover that. Some crazy, it's crazy about what this. We'll cover in a second. All right, Vitalik Buterin says crypto's most powerful idea isn't nearly ready for use. The Ethereum co-founder says indigestibility, obfuscation, it could one day act like a trustless trusted third party, but today's version remains far too slow for real use. So if you guys don't know about like cryptography and things of that nature, we're going to cover it, and you guys are going to see how it works, like Visa and MasterCard, how this new infrastructure, crypto, quote unquote, blockchain, will work in the background without people knowing what it really is and what it really does. Okay, we'll cover that a little bit. Next article: Europeans unlicensed crypto firm faces wipeout as MiCA deadline hit. So July 1st is the deadline, and we'll cover how a lot of these companies in the European Union and in Europe are not going to be able to participate in the market, well, crypto market, for a while. All right, until they get those proper regulations. Next, Robert Kiyosaki says gold may be starting 35k bull run after latest purchase. Okay, 35k. All right, pay attention, y'all. All right, BIS warns stablecoins are more like ETFs than actual money, and they're creating an FX risk. So this actually, BIS, if you guys don't know who they are, they're huge in the market, and we'll cover what they said in a little bit. Last article I have for you guys today is, American Express built a stablecoin team with VP role, paying up to 282,000. Okay, so if you guys know anything about cryptography or anything about, anything about stable coins or anything like that, you guys should just apply for this. Remember, there's going to be a lot of positions that come out of this new financial sector that a lot of people aren't aware of. So it's good to stay here, stick around. Also, like and subscribe and share it to others that might need a new direction in life, especially when we talk about AI coming and taking people's jobs and stuff. They're still hiring people who understand this new technology. All right, all that coming up next. All right. First article I have for you guys is Saylor strategy initiates buyback and Bitcoin monetization program, lifts STRC dividend. So they can continue to create new programs. They continue to help keep their company afloat, but I don't think they are going to be able to stay afloat for too much longer. But basically what this article says is the company has already adopted a broad approved US dollar reserve policy and increased the annual dividend rate on its variable rate Series A perpetual stretch preferred stock STRC to 12%. So their dividends they will get paid for this stock is 12%, effective for the dividend period of July 1st. So we have a lot of stuff coming up for July 1st. Strategy said its US dollar reserve currently stands at approximately 2.5 billion, enough to cover about 17.4 months of preferred dividend and interest obligations. So they've created a strategy, I guess, but we're going to see how that strategy works. Only thing I do not like about this is I'm pretty sure all their programs are like this, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on this part. But this program, the program have no fixed expiration date and may be modified, suspended, or terminated at any time. So you guys have to understand what you're getting into, understand what, if you're part of Saylor's strategy, because you're actually putting your money in someone else's hands instead of doing your own research, holding your own crypto keys. Like, I never understood the ETFs. I understood it from an institutional perspective, but if you're a retail person, you shouldn't be going to talk to a big bank to work on your own financial structure. In this new world, I think the debt-based world in the past, it worked to have someone there helping you with your financial, assets and things of that nature. But I think in this new world that we live in, the whole level playing field, you're going to be in charge of your own wealth, your own keys of everything, the whole digital ID. I said this years ago, where they're talking about creating a 4-day work week. That's great. But on top of that, you're going to get paid every day, every minute, by the minute. So for instance, it's kind of, and we've seen this transition, you guys. We've seen this transition where it's like, when you do Uber, you get paid right then and there. They take their cut and whatnot. But imagine if you work for a Fortune 500 company or anywhere, McDonald's, you get paid on the hour, by the hour. This is the new system we're moving into, in my opinion, where you don't have to wait 2 weeks to get paid anymore. You get paid for your services right then and there. And we've seen that slow transition into it with all these new jobs that came from COVID and things of that nature, where you got TaskRabbit, you got all these, thumbtack tasks, so there's things that are being developed in the background, but also in the forefront, because we're moving into a different perspective and narrative of life. Okay, that's enough ranting. That's going to be for the Patreon. But we've seen this slow trickle of this new infrastructure happening every day. And you can call it controlled chaos or whatever, but it's here and it's happening. All right. Basically, back to this article. Enough with the rant. Strategy adopted a new digital credit capital framework, including a broad, and then goes down here, approved USD reserve policy and a higher 12% dividend for STRC preferred share. The board authorized up to $1 billion of preferred security backups and $1 billion of common stock repurchases through. Neither program obligates the company to make purchases. So it doesn't, they say this is the program, what they're going to do, but it doesn't mean they have to do it. Okay, moving on. Just be careful. Like, this is shaky, and we got to be careful, because if they're pegged to Bitcoin and something happens to this company and they have to sell, the price of Bitcoin right now is already negative. We don't need people or bad actors coming in and messing up this market completely. But moving on. All right, next article I have for you guys. Vitalik Buterin says crypto's most powerful idea isn't ready for use. And he's talking about cryptography, you guys. And I think, so remember, articles will be down below, but make sure you always do your own research and read it. But obfuscation turns a program into an encrypted version that still runs and produces the same output while hiding how it works inside. This is crazy to think about. I like it, but then I don't, because it should be a level playing field. We should see everything that works. But in reality, this is the world we live in now. Like I was just talking about the Uber driver. We don't know the Uber driver. Sometimes that Uber driver that's in the phone isn't even the person who drops off the stuff. And you guys know that it happens all the time. People sign up other people to use their stuff. Anyways, my point with this is like MasterCard and money and how we use our debit card now. Like, we don't know how the debit card works. We slide it and we get what we want, and that's it. And I think that's what he's talking about when it comes to cryptocurrency, when he's talking about blockchain technology and it being woven into our infrastructure now. And he calls this IO, but it's the same thing as we always called iOS. But anyways, the formal target called indistinguishability obfuscation means that the given two scrambled programs that do the same job, no one can tell which is which. So this all goes hand in hand with how I talk about the age of Aquarius. You're gonna have these two separate, living type of paradigms that go hand in hand. Okay, and I think that's kind of how it's going to work in the future once they get all the piping and plumbing down, like cryptography. No one's going to understand cryptography in 10 years. The word's going to disappear, just like I think the word blockchain might even disappear in 10 years, because it's one of those things where it's in the background now. We're moving so fast, we're building on top of these layers to the point where the bottom layer doesn't mean anything no more. The foundation of our house, no one goes to the bottom of their houses and checks the foundation unless you're a smart person. But at the end of the day, they're transforming this whole infrastructure, and we have to be aware of this, y'all. Okay, moving on, next article. Okay, July 1st is a big day to pay attention to. We had these, I believe these are going out, these dividends, so we'll see if those come through. And then also July 1st, European unlicensed crypto firms face wipeout as MiCA deadline hits. So the European regulator ESMA called on unauthorized crypto asset service providers to wind down their business in an orderly manner as MiCA transition period ends July 1st. So just please be aware of what's about to happen in July. Okay, hopefully we can get things signed in July, but I don't think so. We'll see. But here it is right here. Europe was thought to have more than 3,000 registered virtual asset service providers, VASP. So if you're MiCA approved, then this is what you actually certify as. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong down below, but the pre-MiCA categorization as of 2024, Poland alone accounted for 1,400 registrants. As of this month, there are just 244 MiCA authorized crypto asset providers. So this is just something to pay attention to. Make sure you guys read the article, see what's going on. But July 1st is going to be a big day. Today is the 29th, so just be aware of what's going to happen to these markets in the future, okay? It could affect a lot of people. All right, moving on. All right, so Robert Kiyosaki says gold may be starting a 35K bull run after his latest purchase. This is what he says, and I believe he's right. When we talk about blockchain, when we talk about real world assets and precious metals, like we have a lot of paper trading, we have a lot of BS that's built up this system, a lot of debt that's in these markets that need to actually, you know, be brought down. So maybe some of these collapses are very important to get all the nasty, you know, quote unquote money we have on the market out. We need that to happen. But I believe that gold will be sitting at a high price when it comes to being pegged to the blockchain, just for the simple fact of what it is. And when you talk about Bitcoin and it being digital gold, that can't be possible. You can't have a world reserve asset like Bitcoin on the blockchain and this infrastructure when you have actual gold on there. It makes no sense to have a fake gold when you can have the real gold. And this gold will be locked up in these big banks and these huge places that every month, every year they'll do an audit. These things will probably get serial numbers on them or tracking devices, whatever the future of blockchain may hold. You know what I mean? You won't be able to move this gold without the blockchain knowing, in my opinion. So it going to 35K is very possible. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin does nothing, in my opinion, but moving on. Let me know if I'm wrong down below. All right, BIS warns stablecoins are more like ETFs than actual money. And I think this is true right now. And where we're at, I agree with them. Of course, you would be stupid to disagree with them. This is BIS we're talking about. But the crypto industry has long pitched stablecoins, tokens pegged to fiat currencies as future of blockchain-based money and payments. But the Bank of Institutional Settlements, BIS, latest annual report is throwing cold water on that narrative. The report argues that stablecoins are acting less like money and more like ETFs or other alternative investment vehicles whose units allow traders to gain exposure to a wide range of assets held by the fund. And it basically goes on to say that when you use a stablecoin, yes, it's pegged, but it's not one for one exactly. And it kind of is that way with our money. Like when we take our money in, sometimes more has been printed that day. Sometimes, you know, some bonds have been sold or bought to where that dollar is actually worth a little bit more or a little bit less. Over time it becomes a little bit less, of course, because of inflation and printing and stuff of that nature. But secondary market prices of tokenized versions of fiat currencies devalue from pair though mostly moderately. In other words, the token doesn't allow trade at exactly $1. All right, so I believe they're right, and the whole idea of an ETF, I had never really liked ETFs, but it's neither here nor there. So check out the article down below. Moving on. All right, American Express builds a stablecoin team with VP Royal paying up to $282,000. So I'm just gonna say this now: if you're struggling to find a job, if you're struggling to find work, you know, create a YouTube channel first of all, but then also on top of that, learn some of these new trades that are going to be in the future. If you're worried about like AI and robotics taking over your job, well, look into how you can start becoming a mechanic for some of these things, or maybe a coder, or even somebody that does cleanup work, because there's going to still be oil and grease and all that stuff, you know. So find out what you could do in the future with, because like, it's not just going to be stable coins. It's not just going to be, you know, people with higher credentials and stuff of that nature. It's going to be people to do labor work too. So it's like, I'm not even worried about a robot taking my job. Like, you guys are introducing a 4-day work week and you know, global ID and universal basic income. If you don't see what's coming, then please get prepared now. All right, my name is Louis. Hope you guys enjoy the content. I'm out of here. Peace.